President, please be seated. The court is now back in session. And again, the chamber is giving the floor to the Deputy Co-Prosecutor to continue putting questions to the witness. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Witness, I now would like to speak about the supervision mechanisms on the 1 January dam worksite, and then we will speak about punishments as well as about arrests and about what happened at Wat Barai Chongtek. First of all, you said earlier that there were militiamen or soldiers who would watch over the workers, in particular in the forest, when the workers would go relieve themselves. Were there many militiamen and soldiers on site, and do you know where they came from? Did they come from the commune, from the district, from the sector, or from the zone?
There were many of them, and those soldiers were the district soldiers, and they were assigned to stand guard at the work site, to guard along the bushes to avoid people staying long in the bushes when they went to relieve for themselves. And again, as I said, they were soldiers from the Barai district.
Were they armed?
Yes. Those soldiers standing guard near the bushes, they were armed.
I believe you said earlier that when you would stop working for a brief moment, these people will tell you to get back to work. Was it also their job to watch over all of the workers in your group?
We were instructed to continue working, and those soldiers who were standing guard near the forest was to deter us from resting in the forest during the working hours.
And on the work site, did you ever hear about the notion about the enemies to the revolution? For example, during meetings, or did you ever hear about enemies from within?
I only heard they talked about enemy, and if we were not to go to work, it means we were considered the enemy as we oppose Angkar.
And the people who were new people, or the Cham, were they subjected to any kind of specific supervision?
New people will be monitored, and if they were considered to be lazy when they were working, they would be taken away, or killed. That is, after they had been educated and they did not reform.
I'm not I'm now going to try to define with you the notion of enemy, such as you understood it back then. So, a worker who would openly complain about the working or living conditions on site, would this worker be considered an enemy?
For people who complained, they will be considered the enemy, or those who didn't go to work and stayed at the resting shelter, they would be taken away. Because they said that if people were to stay in the shelter and did not go to work, sooner or later other people would follow.
And a person who would refuse to obey this discipline, what would happen to such a person?
If people didn't obey, they will be taken for the education, although I did not know where they will be sent to, as they simply disappeared.
And someone who would break the equipment on site, such as hose or baskets, would this person be considered an enemy as well?
President, witness, please read, and Counsel Corporate, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is the second example in a row that the prosecution is asking questions in the forms of a hypothetical. What would happen if he or she didn't obey? What would happen if whatever? This is asking for speculation. The proper way to question the witness is to ask whether such a thing happened, and if yes, who did what at what time. So that would not, leave no room for speculation. I'm asking you to order the prosecution to ask for concrete events that unfolded at the dam site.
Yes, indeed, that is indeed my intention. So, did you ever note, or were you ever told that a person who would break the equipment on site would be considered an enemy?
I didn't see anyone doing that, as I saw the unit chief brought a replacement tool for the tool that was damaged, and I did not see anyone accused of being an enemy for damaging a tool.
Just an observation, maybe there's something in the translation, but I hear in English, who would break. Now that is an hypothetical situation. I'm not sure what the original French word is that is being used. The proper word would be did somebody break, not would. So I don't know if that is a... No, it's you can sign whatever you like, Judge Vance, but this is a crucial difference between asking for speculation and asking for a concrete event.
Mr. President, I am simply putting very simple and concrete questions to the witness. If the witness did not see this kind of event, she should say so. She's perfectly free to... There was nothing conditional about the last question I put to her, nothing hypothetical. And I would like now to move on to another question. Were they cases of people who fled, who escaped from the work site, or who hid in order not to have to work?
People who evaded work would be sent back to the work site. Or for those who hit themselves in order to avoid going to work would be found by the militia and brought back to the work site.
And you yourself, did you ever think about escaping?
Et sinon, pourquoi?
And if not, why not?
I never thought of escaping as I would not go any far. So then I just concentrated on working in order to receive my food ration. Although we wanted to have delicious food for the hard work, but unfortunately we were not given. We were only given the ration just enough to eat our fill and to continue working. And the same situation applies to every worker.
And you said in your written record of interview, D166/38, in Khmer it's on page 00239929 until 30, I believe. In English, 00244163, and in French, 00283908. And you said the following: if someone could not achieve the objectives that were set, that person would be punished. So let me read out the quote again, and I'll repeat the French ERN. If someone could not achieve the objectives that were set, that person would be punished and tortured. Free translation. The ERN in French is 00283908 until 09, probably. So you spoke about torture and punishments. And what were the different punishments that were meted out when someone would not achieve the plan that was set out? Do you know what kind of punishment would be administered?
I saw a person being punished. The person was advised to work hard, and if the person could not be reformed, then the person was given to the security, and the security would educate that person.
And did you sometimes see someone who had not finished his or her work would have to continue working during mealtime, or would that person be deprived of eating?
If we did not go to work rather frequently, then the food ration would be deprived, as we were accused of being lazy in carrying the earth.
Now, with regard to harsher forms of punishment, you spoke about detention, temporary detention in a wooden cage that was located in a forest near the construction site. And before reading out the excerpt in question, can you confirm having seen that, and can you tell us what you saw exactly in that forest?
Indeed, a person named Tree was re-educated to carry earth. he didn't. He was considered not to be reformed. He was then handed to the security, and the security placed him in a cage a bit far from the dam construction site. And later on, he disappeared. And one day, when I went to relieve myself in a forest, I saw a tree being in a cage in the forest, and the cage size was about 2 meters long, and it was the district security who placed him in the cage. And from that day onward, he disappeared, and I have never seen him again.
So did you come into that forest by chance? How is it that you were able to see that?
I went to relieve myself in the forest with a few other female workers, and I saw that, but we kept quiet when we returned to the work site, as we were afraid that if we were to break what we saw, we would be taken away and killed.
So, was this a forest, or was this a secret place based on what you noted? Or on the contrary, everyone was aware of the existence of those cages?
For people who were considered lazy, they would be placed in the cage. And if the person reformed, then the person will be allowed to return to work. And if not, then the security would take them away, and I did not know where they were taken to.
In your written record of interview, it's at the same page as I quoted earlier. You said that there were many cages, and there was one cage per village. And you also said that the person who would be arrested would be locked up for 2 days or more, depending on the necessary re-education. That person was detained during the day and at night, and once that person was re-educated, that person was released, and the person could go back to work and eat like all the others. During that person's detention in the cage, that person would be subjected to psychological testing, and if through these tests he proved that he had been well re-educated, that person would be released. Free translation. So how did you learn that there were several cages and that there was one cage per village?
I saw cages there, and for each commune there were soldiers who were assigned to guard in that area.
At the end of the same page, in French, 00283908, English, Khmer, 00239930, English, 00244163. You said that you saw Niri Lip in a cage. Who was Niri Lip, and what did she do to deserve such punishment, based on what you learned there about that?
from what I learned at the time, that she didn't go to work, so she was placed in a cage for re-education, and she promised to work. Then she was allowed to return to work, and the same food ration was again resumed for her. So the cage was like a re-education school. People will be sent there, and if they were to reform, then they will be allowed to return to work. And allow me to say later on, from what I know, that that lady died later on.
Now, I will be speaking about the Barai Chung Ek Pagoda, and can you tell us if this pagoda was located close to your village of Tra in Baleng commune?
Barai Chondai Pagoda is located right in my village. And it was a killing site.
And were you obliged to pass in front of this pagoda when you would go home to your village every 10 days when you had a day off? Every 10th day of the month?
Every 10th day we were given dessert to eat, and then we could return to the village. And one day while I was passing by the pagoda, a music was played over the loudspeaker, and then two soldiers came out with the guns pointing at me and threatened me not to trespass the area again. And I was trembled with fear. And later on, when I heard loudspeaker was used to play music, to me it means that people were being killed, and then I would avoid the area.
And could you see the pagoda from the worksite on the Chinit River? That is to say, were you able to see the pagoda from where you were working, in the distance or close by?
President Witness, please hold on, and Councillor Coppert, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have an objection in relation to questions being asked in respect of the Wat Barai Chondek Pagoda. First objection is that this particular pagoda, whether, in its functioning potentially as security site, is not part of this trial, not part of this segment. A few questions, of course, can be asked, but not any questions as to the functioning, etc., of this particular security center. And secondly, I would like to refer the Chamber to document D166/186. That is is English ERN 00342223, Khmer 00347592. I see I don't have the French ERN, I apologize. But this is a site identification report signed by Philip Kane, investigator of the OCIJ. And on the third page of his report, in the chapter called Conclusion, on ERN 00342225 and Khmer 00347595, he says the following: the testimonies of the witnesses, Men Lay, a former detainee, and Yin Dot, a former prison guard, provide adequate evidence that Wat Barai Chondek was used as a prison torture and execution site. Then the witnesses cannot, however, provide a direct link between the security center and the 1st January dam as asserted in the introductory submissions. Further investigation may be necessary in order to establish this link. I don't know if that has happened, but we are dealing today with the 1st January dam, and it's a security center that the witness is referring to in the prosecution is not linked, apparently, to the 1st January dam.
Mr. President, I'm going to respond. That's a very long objection that has costed me many minutes in my examination. The objection is not at all justified. It's based, first of all, on the fact that the conclusion of the site identification report could not allow then to make a connection with the 1 January dam worksite. But at the time this investigation was just developing, if my colleague had read the closing order that was produced by the co-investigating judges at the end of the investigation, he would have understood that what Barai Chongdek was a security center where people who were working on the 1 January dam worksite or the 6 January dam worksite were executed. That was not the only reason for that center, but however, people from the work sites were executed there according to the closing order. So therefore, it is quite clear that questions may be put to the witness with regard to this security center, this pagoda, because there is a direct connection with the worksite, and I will ask the chamber for leave to continue with my examination.
President, the objection raised by the Defense Counsel for Nunji is overruled, as the fact is related to the 1st January dam work site, or at least related to a certain workers there. And Madam Witness, please respond to the last question put to you by the Deputy Co-Prosecutor. And if you cannot recall it, then the Deputy Co-Prosecutor can repeat the question for you. Witness, please repeat the question.
Merci. Je voulais simplement.
Thank you. All I wanted to know was whether from your work site at the 1st January dam, you could see the Barai Chan Dek pagoda.
Yes. From the dam work site, I could clearly see the pagoda.
Alors, je vais lire un extrait de votre.
Very well, let me read an extract from your record of interview, and I'll then put questions to you on that extract. It is on page 00239929 in the Khmer up to 30, in English 00244163, and in French 00283908. This is what you stated. In the case of persistence, the person would be taken to the security center at the Barai Chandek pagoda and subsequently executed. all those who were taken to the Barai Chandek pagoda were executed. They were taken to the security center. About 4 or 5 people in my team were taken to the security site at Barai Chandek pagoda, including 3, a base person. I don't remember the names of the others because they were new people. 3 objected to Anka about not getting enough food and was stubborn and refused. The French translation was not accurate because in English it says was stubborn and refused to perform labor and was arrested by Anka. I'll pause here for the time being. You stated that 4 or 5 members of your mobile group were led away to that security center. So 1 base person and 3 new people. Regarding 3, you gave the reasons for her arrest. She had protested against the quantity of food she was receiving and refused to work. Now, in your group, were there other persons who are base people who dared to protest regarding the food they received and who stopped working as 3 did?
Answer: there was no one else. We were working very hard because we were afraid of being killed.
Concernant les 3 ou 4 autres personnes,
regarding the 3 or 4 other new people, do you know what errors they committed before they were arrested and led away to the Barai Chandek pagoda?
Answer: I do not know about it. They disappeared and I did not know what happened to them.
est-ce que vous savez si concernant
regarding the new people, do you know whether on the 1st January dam work site they looked for people who had played any role during the Lon Nol regime? Do you have any such information?
Answer: I do not have any information.
Alors, vous avez dit plus loin,
You said later, still in your record of interview, this is another passage concerning Barai Chandek Pagoda. The Khmer page is 00239932. In English, 00244165. And in French, 00283910 up to 11. You refer to the fact that you passed next to the pagoda and you heard messages being broadcast on loudspeakers. And this is what you said, and I quote, I knew that people were being executed because I saw them transporting people by ox carts into that site. I saw them several times. They were transported in ox carts at night and in trucks during the day. Those who were transported into that security site were new people or charm. The arrests and taking people to the security office were during the time I was working at the 1st January dam work site. Those arrested and sent to the security office were people living in the villages and people working in the mobile units End of quote. I have not yet asked any question, and I can see that my learned friend is on his feet.
Yes, my feet indeed. Mr. President, you have made a reasoned decision as to the scope of this trial. You have selected 3 security centers, Krang Tachan, S21, and a third one which name I now forget. We're not dealing with this security center. Prosecution is forcing us now to ask this witness all kinds of questions about the security center of which he doesn't know anything. Why not urge the prosecution to limit itself and just simply ask questions about what happened at the 1st January dam without also trying to squeeze this into the debate at trial? It's pointless. It is a waste of time. It is going directly outside the scope of your decision that we are dealing with 3 security centers only. So again, my objection, let's not go there.
Monsieur le Président, avec votre autorisation.
Mr. President, with your leave, I would like to submit that to be more precise and to complete my colleague's objection regarding issues that are not covered by your severance decision. Annex E300/9/12, the ERN in French is 00982093, the ERN in English 00981688, and the ERN in Khmer 00981694 regarding facts relevant to the alleged crimes. This is what you stated regarding the security centers. These are the security centers listed in the annex to your severance decision. Number 6, S21 Security Center, 7, Krang Tachan Security Center, 8, Ong Kong Seng Security Center, 9, Krong Kraul Security Center. There is no security center at the pagoda the co-prosecutor is referring to, and if we are told that people went to that location, as the witness said in the answer, we didn't want to interrupt the witness, but any questions on that security center, the modes of functioning, whereas it is clearly specified that it was when she left the 1st January dam and was returning to the village that she noticed that site. We are no longer on the 1st January work site. If we continue referring to facts that are not covered by the severance decision, it is not proper. A decision was taken and we are working on the basis of very specific points. We should be able to stick to that, otherwise there is no legal certainty. If you had wanted to include that security center, I imagine that you would have easily included it on the list of security centers I have just listed. You didn't do so. You only said the 1st January work site, and you meant the work site and not the security center. If the co-prosecutor is establishing an artificial link between the 1st January dam and the security center, which is not among the security centers you listed in the severance decision, we are clearly straying from the scope of the trial, and we cannot conduct a criminal trial on this basis, and we cannot defend our clients on this basis. So may I request that your severance decision be abided by, and please order the co-prosecutor to stop putting questions on that security center. Mr. President, if I may respond, I am not establishing an artificial link. It is in the closing order. Read all the paragraphs regarding the 1st January dam. They talk of the Chuan Dek dam as being one of the places where people were placed and sent for execution. It is not an artificial link. I am basing myself on the closing order document which sees the trial chamber of these criminal charges. If it wasn't part of this segment, the chamber would not be able to fulfill its duties. The chamber was seized of these facts, and it has to rule on these facts. And I have insisted a while ago to say that to the extent that there's a link with the 1st January dam worksite, we can ask questions on it. And we can say the same of the Angroka Security Center. These are all parts of the whole. You want to deprive the prosecution of the possibility of establishing the murder and the exterminations carried out at the site of that dam, and to take a quarter of an hour to make these objections and prevent us from asking these questions, which are very relevant to the site of the dam and the victims, which the witness has already referred to. That would be improper. I thank you.
Monsieur le Président, simplement pour répondre.
Mr. President, I just wish to respond in order that we should focus on the law. A number of things have been said in the closing order, but since then, several decision has been issued. We are not saying that certain things are not in the closing order. The question before us is whether or not we will apply the decision of the chamber. That is the crux of the matter.
President, I give the floor to Judge Lavange to decide on the objections by the defense counsels concerning the question put by the International Deputy Co-Prosecutor. You may now proceed.
Oui, merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. The objection made by the defense teams is denied. The Chamber notes that in the annex to the severance decision regarding the 1st January dam, a number of paragraphs are referred to, including paragraph 167 of the closing order, which expressly refers to that site, indicating that some witnesses witnessed arrests and heard that people working at the 1st January dam worksite were sent to those locations. So the Chamber is of the view that these questions are relevant and should be asked, and the witness should answer them. Bearing in mind the fact that the prosecutors have been deprived of some of the time allotted to them, the chamber will grant them 15 additional minutes in order for them to put further questions to the witness. The prosecutor: thank you, Mr. President, Your Honors. Witness, I will try to retrace the thread of my questions. You said people were brought in trucks during the day and in ox carts at night, and that these were essentially new people and chums who were led away. How were you able to know all these details regarding the Barai Chandek pagoda? How did you know what happened there, and specifically that people were executed there?
Answer: I knew through the village chief. He told me that these people were put at Barai Chuandai and they never came out of this security site again. I was in a mobile unit. People were transported in trucks and in ox cart at night time. During the daytime, they were brought in trucks, and they never returned after they were sent to that place.
Comment s'appelait ce chef de village et est-ce qu'il...
What was the name of the village chief, and what was his relationship with that pagoda? Was he in charge of that pagoda?
He had no any role in the security. He was the village chief, and he cooperated with other chiefs, and people were brought to that place, and I did not know what happened. When I was transplanting the seedlings at night time, I asked the village chief, "Uncle, where were these people brought to?" And I was told that they were brought to that place.
Est-ce que vous avez parlé à ce chef de village?
Did you speak to that village chief before you started work at the 1st January work site, or it was while you were working there?
Answer: I was in the mobile unit. I was told to go and uproot the seedlings at night time. It was after my work at the 6th January dam. I was not allowed to have any free time. I was told to go and uproot the seedling after I did the work at the 6th January dam.
Donc est-ce que cette pagode Vat Barai Chandek était en fonction comme ça?
After that Barai Chandek pagoda started being used as a security center up to when you started work at the 1st January work site, what time elapsed during that period?
Yes, it was until the regime fell.
J'ai quelques questions concernant...
I have a few questions regarding the charm. In the record of your interview, you stated, and it is on page 00239931 in Khmer, and in English 00244165, and in French 00283910. You stated that you saw charm. This is what you said, I quote: "There were no charm in my team, but I saw some in the other teams. Those Cham lived in the same conditions as the ethnic Khmer people. They did not let the Cham practice their religion. They had them do everything like the ethnic Khmer. If they saw them practicing Islam, they would take them away and kill them. End of quote. A while ago, you said that the majority of the people taken to Barai Chandek Pagoda were new people or Cham. Apart from the prohibition to practice their religions, did the Cham have the right to speak their language?
Answer: no, they were not allowed to speak Cham language, and they were not allowed to practice their religion as well. They were told to speak Khmer language.
Sur le site du barrage,
On the dam's work site, were they allowed to wear distinctive clothes, that is, different clothes? For instance, could the women wear scarves?
Answer: actually, we could wrap groma around our neck, and we had to dress in black.
est-ce qu'il est arrivé pendant votre travail au
While you were working at the 1st January and the 6th January work sites, did you have the opportunity to eat pork?
Answer: yes, I had pork once in a while. And most of the time we had fish in the morning glory soup. On every 10 days we had dessert, and we also had a fish soup, and we would be served with fish soup. On some other occasions, on every 10 days, we would have pork.
Lorsque le porc était servi,
When the pork was served, did the Cham have to eat it? Did they have the choice not to eat it?
Answer: everyone was instructed to eat pork. No one could refuse. And if we did not eat pork, we had nothing to eat, so we had to eat pork anyway.
je voudrais en venir maintenant à
This brings me to what happened in your commune, Baray, in your village, and beyond that, in Baray district. During the period when you lived there, did you hear of purges among the cadres in your village, in your commune, or in your district?
Answer: I heard about the network of a KGB and CIA agents, and I asked people why cadres were taken to be killed, and I was told that they were linked to CIA or KGB agents. That is why they were taken to be killed. I was told that these people were linked to KGB and CIA agents, and I really have no idea what KGB or CIA agents are. I asked about this matter from my colleagues.
lorsque vous étiez sur le site du barrage,
While you were at the dam work site, did you attend meetings at which some cadres of the North Zone were accused of being traitors?
Answer: I have never heard of it. I only knew that these people, I mean the cadre, disappeared, and I was told that they were part of CIA and KGB agent. I have no idea what KGB or CIA is about. And cadres and people were killed in different places.
Est-ce que vous avez vu ou entendu?
Did you see or hear that cadres from other zones came to replace those who had been arrested or executed?
Answer: I saw some cadres were taken away, and people from the east zones replaced these cadres, and the cadres from east zones has accent in their way of speaking. I am a base person, and I could ask my village chief about the matter.
Est-ce que vous avez vu des gens de la zone sud-ouest venir?
Did you see people from the southwest zone come to that location to play a role in the management of the 1st January dam work?
Answer: it was later, after we completed the work at the 1st January dam. I could see that cadres from the southwest zone replaced the former cadres who were taken away.
And at the district level, at the Barai district level, did you know someone of the name of Tapoj? That is P-A-U-C-H.
Answer: I have heard of him. He perhaps was the former Barai districts, but I am not sure of his position. He was perhaps the former district, and there were many former districts, former district chiefs.
Une fois que
And once the cadres from the north zone were replaced, were there any changes in the discipline when other cadres came from other zones, in particular the cadres from the southwest zone? So what was the discipline like under the cadres from the southwest zone in relation to the previous cadres?
Answer: base people and new people were afraid of the cadres from the southwest zones.
Well, I'm going to finish the day by asking you a few questions with regard to the rights that you enjoyed when you were working on the 1 and 6 January dam work site. So on the work site, were you free to choose the work that you liked the most?
Answer: no. We had to go where we were assigned to go. If we did not go, we would be taken for refashioning. We would be deprived of meals. So we cannot refuse the order or instruction of Angka.
And on the work site, were you well paid for the work you were doing? Would you receive a salary, a significant salary for that?
Answer: no, money was not used then. No salary actually, and we were happy to have meals to eat.
Est-ce que vous aviez
And were you allowed to hold meetings on the work site among yourselves? To spend an evening among friends just chatting away freely?
Answer: no, we could not. We could not meet with our colleagues. No one was free at that time. Only the elderly and young children were free. And for those who could work, they would be assigned to do work in different places, to make fertilizer or to work in the field. I was in work until the regime in 1979 failed.
My last question for today, maybe. On the work site, could young people flirt with the person of their choice? You were young back then, so did you ever have the chance to spend time with young men back then?
Answer: no, I could not make any contact with male workers. If we happen to chat with male workers, two of us would be assigned to dig the termite mounds at a far place. And if we happen to chat and contact each other, we would be sent away to work.
ขอบคุณ
President, thank you. It is now time for the adjournment, and the chamber will resume its hearing tomorrow on the 26th May 2015, and the chamber will resume hearing the testimony of witness Mir Lai Huo, and then we continue to hear 2 TCCP 255. Thank you very much, Madam Mir Lai Huo. The hearing of your testimony does not come to an end yet. You are invited to be here again tomorrow, starting to hear your testimony, to give your testimony at 9 a.m. And the support staff from TPO, you can now also rest, and you are also invited to support the witness tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Court officer, please work with the vessel to send this witness to his place, to her place, and return her tomorrow into the courtroom before 9 a.m. Security personnel are instructed to bring the two accused back to the detention facility, and please bring them back into the courtroom before 9 a.m. The court is now adjourned.